Hello again, everybody, and welcome back. We're starting our final chapter, chapter 14, and this is going to be on impacts and extinctions. And I chose this picture right here because, well, it's just kind of dynamic. If we had any kind of impact from an object this large on the Earth, given the size of the Earth, you can see kind of roughly how big it would be, and the size of the impact, it would probably end life as we know it. But other impacts from smaller objects do create similar kinds of craters, and we're going to be looking at some of those, some of which impact the Earth and don't even hit the ground, but explode above the ground, and so we'll be giving those some names as well. So I'm going to skip ahead. Learning objectives right here. Read them off to you, but these are the things we're going to be covering. And so let's just go ahead and start with our first case study, and that is with a meteor that exploded over, I'm going to say Chelyabinsk. I don't speak Russian, but either Chelyabinsk or Chelyabinsk. I'm going to say Chelyabinsk over Russia, kind of towards the middle or western part of Russia. In fact, actually, there's a map. All right, so here's Moscow all the way over on the far left or towards the west, close to Europe. And Chelyabinsk is a little bit east of that, but still, most of the majority of Russia is over even further east. So here's Chelyabinsk right here. And this happened in February of 2013. And nowadays, it's very common for many Russians to have cameras mounted on the dashes of their car. I'm told it's for security, for just, I guess, to make sure the police are doing the right thing when they get pulled over. But for whatever reason, many of them have camera-mounted or have dash-mounted cameras, and actually caught this meteor shooting across the sky and exploding. And we'll look at one or two shots of that in class. I'm not going to put it right here. But it entered the atmosphere extremely rapidly, about 20 times faster than a speeding bullet. The fastest jet plane we've ever been able to create is about 1.5 times the speed of a bullet. So this is moving very, very rapidly, obviously many times faster than the speed of sound. But it did not hit the Earth. It exploded in Earth's atmosphere. And that's partly due to the fact that as it moves, as it plows through the atmosphere, through all that gas, the oxygen and nitrogen and other gases, the friction that it makes it heat up. And so it blew up over the nearby city of Chelyabinsk, and people could really feel this. You could obviously hear it. You could feel the impact, and the shock wave from it actually knocked out thousands and thousands of windows in buildings. And in fact, many people that were hurt by it were hurt primarily because of flying glass. Like I said, it did not hit the ground. It about 15 miles above the surface, so it was still pretty high up there. In fact, not even in the troposphere, but it was in the stratosphere where jet planes tend to fly, that it blew up. But the shock wave from that was so intense that it caused a lot of damage on the ground, mostly in the form of broken glass. Look at this right here. The energy released was about 20 to 30 World War II era nuclear explosions. And so the bomb that blew up over the Japanese city of Hiroshima, all right, the entire city was destroyed with that one bomb right there. Well, this would be 20 to 30 times that much. So imagine that exploding not on the ground, but actually over top of your city, which, by the way, nuclear bombs are designed to do that. It maximizes the devastation if it explodes in the air versus on the ground, because the ground absorbs some of the energy. So if it explodes in the air, it releases more energy, and that's exactly what this meteor did as well. And so this was the largest thing to come into the atmosphere since an event called, we call it the Tunguska event, but this was another meteor that exploded over more eastern Russia in the early 1900s. And I'll show you where Tunguska is. This is right here. All right. Now, if you know anything about Russia, Siberia, this general area right here, is pretty remote. Lots of trees, lots of mountains, marshes, just kind of a tundra. Supposedly, if you're in the Russian military and you do something wrong, they send you to Siberia to work. They station you at some sort of base in Siberia because it's not all that pleasant. It's just cold and very vast and very remote, very much like a wilderness right there. Well, this event in Tunguska in 1908 was a meteor that was even larger than the one that exploded over Chelyabinsk. And it exploded in the air and flattened thousands of square miles of trees. So this was the major, recent asteroid or meteor event that hit the Earth. But Chelyabinsk was the biggest one since then. All right, so this is the main one. This has been a little more recent, but not quite as big.